Oof, this is rough. So Lightstream accusing SLOBS of copying, and yeah, it do be looking the same, and the comments look the same too. That's a yikes from me. Let's see what else. Ooh, Bobby Kotick now being pushed as the at least one of the perpetrators and knowing about it. Yikes! 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 Okay, so yeah, Bobby Kotick. This. Wow. Wow. This is insane. I didn't think that this week was gonna be worse. Guys, I really wanted this week to be good, but instead we get this. Yeah, I'm. This is a lot. Let's start out with Streamlabs first, though. Let me talk about that. So, as you can see, there's two pretty big bombshells this week that I do want to talk about. The first one is about Streamlabs, and the other one is about Bobby Kotick now being implicated in the crimes. And yeah, let's just say that last week I really wanted a good week, and this week was not the case. Not at all. So, let's jump right into it. Starting off with Streamlabs. So, to begin with, Lightstream basically firstly accused Streamlabs OBS that they plagiarized. And as you can see, Lightstream is on the left, and Streamlabs Studio OBS, or Streamlabs OBS is on the right. And yeah, you can see that, there's the same graphic, or at least like the graphic location, similar text, level up your console streams, level up your Xbox and PlayStation streams, yada yada yada. How does it work? And it has all these similarities. Now, like here, it's not the exact same, but at least in terms of picture location and wording, but it's just pretty much the same. And yeah, basically, whoo-wee. I didn't think it'd be that bad, right? But when you look at it, it's pretty bad. And yeah, Lightstream kind of messed up a little bit. Just to put it lightly, just lightly. Now, so this wasn't the only controversy, right? So OBS, the program that I'm using right now, down here, yeah, they also said near the launch of SLOBS, as Streamlabs reached out to us about using the OBS name, we kindly asked them not to, and they did so anyway and followed up by filing a trademark. We've tried to sort this out in private, and they have been uncooperative at every turn, and basically talk about their experience being so adjacent to SLOBS and regular OBS. And even I was initially confused by the distinction at first, and yeah, it's kind of confusing if you're not in the in the circle of knowing all the content recording and streaming platforms. But so yeah, to put this lightly, yeah, it looks like Streamlabs done did a oopsie, to put it lightly. But there's a ton of things that that they done messed up. Particularly, first off, is the fact that they basically copied from Lightstream, and now OBS is like, yeah, they kind of messed up. And this has been a pattern at this point, supposedly, for the Streamlabs. And yeah, basically, if you look at their Streamlabs now, or if you look at their Twitter now, we are taking immediate action to root OBS from our name. Streamlabs OBS is built on top of the OBS open source platform. Stream OBS is also open source, and our code is publicly available. I'm pretty sure that's not quite true. And we take responsibility for our actions, and we'll support the community. And so yeah, it looks like a YouTube apology video without the video. So yeah, don't plagiarize, people. It's bad. Let's put it like that. Just bad. It's just a little bad. So up next, I want to talk about how Bobby Kotick is now being implicated in the crimes. There was a walkout, and then leadership at Blizzard basically was standing with CEO Bobby Kotick, and yeah, it's awful. Now, I want to go to what SkillUp says here, because this man's based, just like Phil. I'll get to him next, but SkillUp says, Kotick sacked J. Allen Brack for the same things that Kotick is now all but confirmed to have done. In fact, the allegations and evidence against Kotick are even more damning. Bobby Kotick must go. And yeah, he's right. Due to just the number of problems, I didn't think that this problem was just, a few people doing it and they didn't figure it out, The fact of the matter is that there were so many of these heinous sexual assaults, and just a ton of sexual harassment too, and it's just like there's no way that HR wouldn't know. There's no way that upper management wouldn't even like hear about this, right? Bobby Kotick originally was saying, "Oh, I didn't know about this, and I'm exempt from this," and no, he wasn't, and it's bad enough that he knew about it, right? But he was also perpetrating it too, and that makes it all the matter worse. Not that just knowing about it was bad, not bad, but you get what I'm trying to say. And so, yeah, basically, Kotick just, he should go. It's the simplest thing to do. For, not only sexually harassing people, but also knowing about it and not doing anything, he basically perpetuated the abuse done to employees. And I think that's heinous. And I think he should leave. It's simple as that. He must leave. To further back my statements about how Bobby Kotick needs to leave, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan basically said to Activision, "Y'all need to stop this." He wrote in an email to staff that he was disheartened and frankly stunned by this week's news, and we do not believe their statements of response properly address the situation. And yeah, basically, PlayStation was like, what the fuck y'all doing? What the hell are y'all doing? I mean, heck, even Phil Spencer's joining me. Now, to be fair, that man's based. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has joined the chorus of industry professionals criticizing Activision Blizzard, telling staff in an email obtained by Bloomberg that Xbox is evaluating all aspects of our relationship with the embattled publisher. So, yeah, even he is agreeing with everybody else, because obviously this was heinous, and Phil Spencer is only based. Now, to further on prove that Phil Spencer is based, he says, NFT game plans feel more exploitative than about entertainment. Based. And finally, he calls for industry-wide support of emulation for older games to preserve the past. If we said, hey, anybody should be able to buy any game or own any game and continue to play, that seems like a great North Star for us as an industry. And so let me tell you, this man's base, he is slamming Bobby Kotick for being a sexual harasser. He is slamming NFTs for being exploitative and not really being about entertainment. And, I mean, at least from what I can see, it's really not. And then he's, basically saying that there should be industry-wide support for emulation of older games. This man is so based. Everything about this man is based. And so, yeah, I definitely think, in particular with the emulation, this is lost money, right? If people buy, or not buy, if they obtain emulated ROMs of video games, the companies are losing out on money. And it's not, it's not good for them. But I get why they won't do it, because it takes time and money, and not everybody's going to buy emulated games, and so that is going to be, most of the time, wasted money. And I understand that. In particular with Nintendo's case, there's not really a way you could emulate DS games onto a Switch. A Switch has one screen, the DS has two screens, and so I get why certain things like that are a lot harder to do, but like the SNES, the NES, Game Boy, the Wii U, the Wii, I mean, those games can be emulated. Because if you didn't know about the 3D Mario All-Stars 3D collection, I think that's what it's called, you can play Super Mario Galaxy on the Switch, and the aiming controls are pretty good. And so, if they could do that with Mario Galaxy, they should be able to do that with any other game. With the gyro controls and whatnot. So I'm just saying, I get, like, DS games, sure, whatever. But, like, most other games, you just need a strong enough platform to play it. I don't get why people won't do it, because it wouldn't be too hard to just get people who are so passionate about it, to make the emulators, put it on like a console, for example, and then just give them some of the money, and you take some of the money too. It's really not that hard, I think, because people are passionate enough to literally do this for free. And if they're willing to do it for free, what happens if you give them a little bit of money, just a few dollars every single time somebody buys an emulated ROM? It's free money. It's just free money. And now, of course, there is some like quality control to make sure the emulators don't break the systems, they don't become crypto miners, so on and so forth. So I get it, but I don't think it'll be that hard overall. But what do I know? I'm not quite in the games industry. I just kind of report on it. Soon, though, maybe I'll be in the games industry, please. But if there's anything to take away, Phil based. Huh. So I'm just recording this now because I just found out that supposedly Activision CEO Bobby Kotick will consider quitting if he can't fix company's culture, and yeah, okay. So next up, it's not quite news as so much as it is an inevitability. The Steam sale draws very close. Prepare your wallets for big savings and big money losses. If you got any game stonks, you might want to start pulling out now so that you don't accidentally max out your credit card, and if you do, you at least have money to do something. Because, yeah, Steam sale's coming. It's coming in hard. Next, I want to look at the fighting game that Riot's making, and yeah, now it's a little interesting. Riot Games can now finally be Riot Games. So, for those that don't know, Riot Games is the founder and creator of League of Legends, and recently Valorant, and their Teamfight Tactics mode within League of Legends. So, yeah, they have a few games under their belt now, and now they're adding a fighting game. And so, it looks interesting to say at the very least. And if any company can break into a market and be able to draw players in, I think it's Riot. League of Legends is a much simpler MOBA compared to some things like Heroes of Newerth or Dota 2. Valorant is a much easier and more accessible and probably more interesting version of CSGO. And I only say that because CSGO, everybody is exactly the same, but in Valorant there are characters, there's a story to it, and so it's more interesting in that regard. Now, whether it's more balanced that way, I don't know, but, you know. And so Riot now having a fighting game under their belt, if they could go with the method of making the game easy to, start out with, but then hard to master, I think Riot can get a new crowd to play their games. And it's really interesting to see that Riot's now really pumping out more games within at least the League of Legends universe. And so, I'm not too surprised that they are capitalizing on this more and more. But I'm kind of just surprised how late it is. I don't know, because League of Legends came out some time ago, and now they're releasing, Valorant, and Project L is not going to come out for a while, but it's coming out eventually. And so it's just like, now they're pushing out a ton of games, and I'm a little confused why they didn't take that opportunity much earlier, but I don't know. Arcane took 6 years, but man, it's been good. At least that's what people are saying. I haven't watched it yet, but I do want to watch it. If it is really that good, I'll report back to you next week. But anyway, the moral of the story, if anybody can make a game accessible to a new group of people, it's pretty much Riot, I think. Oh yeah, so before I forget, the Game Awards is happening. If you saw my Twitter, I was posting about, or at least I retweeted, a post about how co-streamers can co-stream the Game Awards. And yeah, I do want to do that if that, happens to happen. And so, yeah, I think this is really interesting. And I really hope that y'all vote for the games, for categories like Game of the Year, Best Soundtrack, Best RPG, and things like that. So go ahead and vote for the Game Awards stuff. And maybe I'll see you when I'm streaming. Maybe. We'll see. And so here's the final set of news that I want to talk about. Let's just say that, yeah, it wasn't that great. And people were saying so. Even me included. At least I thought it wasn't that great, but I didn't think it was going to be, 10 worst reviewed games of all time. Yikes. And yeah, it's crazy to me. During the beta, for those that didn't play, it was clunky. Gunplay didn't feel that great. Running around didn't feel that great. The abilities didn't feel all that great, except for some of the grappling hooks and stuff. It could have used a lot more time. And if anything, Steam reviews showed that, yeah, it needed a lot more time. Even though they did fix quite a few issues, I think, in terms of graphical glitches and stuff like that, yeah, it's still, to put it lightly, sunk. And so, as SkillUp says here, and I'm using him a lot, they could have just delayed Battlefield like everyone who played the beta said they should have. But no, the top 5 executives at EA take home a combined $80 million a year, so a delay just wouldn't have been financially possible. And so, yeah, I think they should have delayed Battlefield, because now they have an awful game, and it's going to take so much time to fix it, and people that put money into this, thinking that, oh, it's just a beta, it's not that bad, this is a build way long ago. Yeah, now they've just been scammed out of the money, essentially. Now, who knows? Battlefield 2042 could make a comeback. It could become the next big Battlefield, and it just needed more time, but this is not the way to do it. There are very few games that have released and made a huge comeback. A few that come to mind, No Man's Sky and Rainbow Six Siege. But those are 2 cases out of hundreds. You think about Anthem. That game literally arrived and died. And it's just, I just don't get it. They should have just put more time into the game, and they could have released it and everybody would be like, this is the best Battlefield. Or maybe it still might have been decisive, since they did change how special abilities work with there being character-based abilities, but, you know, I think people will warm up to it with time. But, yeah, this is just bad all around, and, yeah, EA's not going to learn from this. But they're still better than, you know, Activision Blizzard, because they don't sexually harass people. And for that matter, they fire people really quickly if there's any sexual harassment claims brought up. So, I guess EA's a little good, but I don't want to, you know, no, don't buy this. Do not buy EA games that are rushed out. Wait until either a sale or the game actually becomes, you know, playable. So, you know, whatever. God, I hate all these big companies. So, that's the end of this week's news. Yeah, it's a little depressing. I really do hope next week's actually good, because otherwise I'm going to be very sad. But so, biggest takeaways really is that awful things like Battlefield 2042 coming out, you know, just awful on release, and Bobby Kotick and just sexual harassment climate that is the gaming industry. Yeah, we really need to fix those. Now, do I think we can? Yes, I think so. Crunch is slowly being worked on. Now, do I think that they could fix crunch a little bit better? Yes. But, you know, some companies are taking their time, you know, either implementing a 4-day week, managing much better. At least I've heard Insomniac, at least from what I've heard, they have not crunched for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and I applaud them for that. For a company that really basically kind of had crunch with their other games, you know, on a really yearly release, yeah, there had to be some crunch. And so, you know, if Insomniac can do it, they can change from being, you know, crunching all the time to get the games out, and now they have, you know, a really good game like Rift Apart come out, and they didn't need to crunch. Other companies can do it too, but the reason why they won't is because money, and if they release it later, they don't get money earlier. And, you know, they also have to appease their stock people too, and their investors, and so I kind of get, but no. You should just delay the game and then wait for the bigger payout and the bigger, you know, goodwill. Because, for example, CD Projekt Red, they had a bunch of goodwill releasing Witcher 3, and then they blew it all up. If they had released Cyberpunk in an actual finished state, oh my goodness. CD Projekt, I wouldn't have this opinion of CD Projekt Red. They would be fantastic in my eyes. They'd be a good game company, and they'd be the pinnacle of the industry. At least, I think. I don't know if Witcher 3 had any crunch, but I don't think so. At least not from what I heard. But Cyberpunk, the crunch was real. Even with those delays, the crunch was real. And so yeah, just to put it lightly, there's some things that we could fix in the industry. And some things will take, you know, some time, like the crunch, like figuring out exactly how to fix things. And other things like sexual harassment, it's really simple to fix, I think, right? Just literally fire people and blacklist them. I think it's really simple, but I wouldn't know. I'm not in the games industry. I'm just a reporter. But, you know, it's this week's news, and hopefully next week during Thanksgiving, nothing bad happens. All I want to see is based fill. Based fill.